Hello Isaac, it's Bono. We are again, and we'll do an interview with Tomás that was an EP in India. Okay, I'm joking. This is Tomás, not this guy is blah. This is someone. And Sophia will do an interview with Tomás. Okay guys?
Tell us what was your initial vision of cultural differences in India?
Well, hi, first of all. Basically, when I got to India, the first things that made a clear impression on me were how the people lived, basically, on the street. People were like, they had no problem in talking to each other, and they had no problem in talking to us, even though they've never seen us before in our lives, and even though they had absolutely no clue who we were. So the first impression, that was basically a drastic impression, was they talked as if we were like family, and they had like no problem with doing that.
And what was your point of action or your job there?
I was basically working on a project, on an Isaac project called Project Synergy, and the purpose of this project was to give workshops and sessions, educational sessions, on schools and colleges, and also on schools that were with children that had mental problems and physical problems. And these sessions included like topics on leadership, entrepreneurship, teamwork. These were some of the topics that we worked on. The main topic was the mainstreaming on HIV. In order to do this, to give these sessions, we had like a workshop with an entity of the United Nations that is concerned about the HIV problem in India. And so we had a workshop for 2 days, a seminar with them on this subject and how to work this subject with the kids. That was what I'm basically doing for 2 months.
And what were your initial fears that came to happen?
So, I'm proud to say that I didn't have a mindset established when I decided to go to India. So I wasn't really aware, or I wasn't concerned about what I might face in the future. So when I got there, to be very honest, there was nothing really, absolutely nothing that scared me. I had like rats in my room, and I had like cockroaches on the street, and like people that lived on the sidewalks, and that was a bit confusing, but there was nothing that I thought of before here in Portugal. And then when I got there, I thought, hey, I remember this was a fear, so that never really happened to me.
And what about the language? Did you?
The language was a problem because although some of them speak English and some of them speak very well, the problem was that most of them speak Hindi, and Hindi is a language that is very hard to understand. It's almost impossible to understand. We had a colleague working with us in our project that spoke Hindi and English, so she was studying in the UK, so she was sometimes a translator for the group. But the thing is, I learned to say some things. Obviously, I was living there for 2 months. I learned to say some things, but basically, either we spoke in English or we didn't speak at all. Basically, that was it.
And what was the most positive and negative of the whole experience? And what did you learn and brought with you from India?
Well, you see, the problem is when you ask that from the group that I was with in India, some of them might tell you, some of them might summarize their experience in like 2 or 3 sentences. That basically means that their experience was not as powerful for them as it was for other people, which is normal. Like, people live things differently in every day at every time. So for me, it was an absolutely incredible experience in every way. We had some problems with the internships themselves, like with the dates, the sessions, the topics, the help from Isaac and everything. But that was a part of the experience. Aside from that, the work with the children was just mind-blowing. I've had some powerful experiences in my life, and I would have to say that that experience in India was just absolutely incredible. Now, there are also other things that most people didn't live and didn't find out, because I'm Thomas and they're them, so that's completely understandable. But all in all, what I have to say is that it's impossible for me to summarize what happened briefly. So it was an incredible experience, full of things. We could be here like sitting for 4 hours and I wouldn't be done, trust me. So the point is, the experience itself is important, but to see every point of the experience, to like fragment it in very little bits, and then what you do is like you pick them up and think, what did I learn here? What did I learn here? What was the experience? And then you'll get like a super experience, basically. That's it.
And what is the best advice you give to a person that is interested in making an internship like
The main advice?
Yes,
advice.
The best advice.
Okay, so if you want to go on an internship, wherever you go, it's very important that you're ready for cultural shock. That's something that's almost a cliche today in Isaac, because we most of the time we spend it on talking about cultural shock, on discovery, on all the sessions, conferences and everything. Cultural shock is like a common theme, but it's very important. And I've given sessions on cultural shock. The problem is that it's hard to explain what it is, but the idea is, if you're going on internship, be ready for everything, okay? It's impossible for you to make a list while still here in Lisbon or wherever you are before you go on your flight to the place where you're going to do your internship. And like, this is what I think is going to happen. And probably what you'll find is that nothing that you established on your list is actually going to happen. So you have to be ready, and you have to, as I said before, you have to be willing to learn from everything that happens in your experience. Also, a good advice is live it to the most. Take everything to the maximum. Even if it's bad, try to live it in order to understand, because it's not every day that you're going to spend 2 months on a different country, completely different country. It's not an European country, so the standards of living are completely different. So my mindset when I got there was like, I don't care about what happens. I just let it come. Whatever happens, I'll face it, we'll deal with it, and we'll make the most of it.